everyone, and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 5 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now, before we get into that, just a couple of things I want to go through with you. First of all, if you haven't done so already, make sure you listen to the latest In the Saddle podcast episode, where I give my Tote 10 to follow. And if you want to listen to that, just hit one of the links in the description box below. We've got all the podcast platforms covered, including the likes of iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever takes your fancy. Just hit the links down below. So that's what I've got to say about that. And the other thing I want to do is apologise for our woeful performance today. The only thing of note really that did come in for us was Winds of Fire. That was the next best, advertised here last night on my YouTube channel at 6-1, finished in second place, and ran perfectly respectably in the end to finish in second place, but just bumped into a well-treated horse on the day of Johnny Farrelly. So that was really disappointing that he couldn't go on and win, because I really did fancy him, and you could tell that he was travelling quite nicely, and I thought at one point we were going to be in, but it's just the way it goes, isn't it, sometimes. And then away from that, the disappointments of the day were, first of all, Love the Leader, who did attract quite a bit of market support. He did at one point, I saw earlier today, in some firms, he was just short at 6-1, so he wasn't unbacked, and he was maybe a little bit weak before the off, but he was still around about a 9-1 chance at post time, so some people thought he was going to run well, and I thought he was a bit unlucky in the race. He was maybe a bit lazy, but that's the way he can sometimes be. And he was making a challenge halfway in the race. I don't know if you saw it, but he was just starting to make a bit of a challenge and work into the race, where a horse in front of him actually fell, and it kind of lost his momentum that he was making through the field. And I think really that cost him any chance of at least making the places, and it was quite a messy race in behind. You needed to be up on the front end. Horses there in the middle or towards the rear, there was quite a few fallers. I think there was about 3 or 4 fallers in that race in the end, so that was frustrating them. We did advertise him with 6 places, and like all good each way bets, they always finished 1 place outside of the places we needed to. And like I said, even though I did recommend him with 6 places with Sky Bet, he finished in 6th place. However, because Sky Bet and some other bookmakers now, when there's non-runners, they're reducing those places. So in the end, it was 5 places in the end, and unfortunately, he just finished outside. So that was really disappointing there. And then the Nap, no complaints about Get Around. The poor horse, he tried his heart out for us. He was out there, giving it his all from the front, and he jumped really well for a long way, but in the end it was a long slog home, and he just got tired up the straight. And in the end, it was a really close finish actually between the first 3 in the race. So it was a really grueling nutritional test, but in the end he just wasn't good enough on the day. So it was a frustrating day today, but it's all about the long term. And if you've been following me since June the 1st, you know that we are up in profit since then. I keep a running profit and loss tally in the description box below. I always do a month breakdown, and then an ongoing one since we started on the 1st of June. So we are in profit since the 1st of June. However, it hasn't been the greatest of starts to the month. Obviously we've still got a long way to go. There's still 20 odd days in November, and it can all change. We were even worse form at the start of October, and then we did turn it around in the end to finish with some profit. So it's all about the long term, not the short term. But if you have joined me in the last few weeks, it is frustrating, I know, but hopefully this is just a blip, and we'll be on an upward curve and find some winners in the near future, and hopefully we can find some winners tomorrow. So let's get into the tips, and we're going to be going down to the West Country, down in Devon tomorrow for my first tip. In the first race there, the 12.55 at Exeter, with a horse called Hawkswell for Ben Jones and Emma Lavelle. You can currently back this horse at 9-2, and I'm going to recommend a win-only bet. Now this horse, last time we saw it, he made his seasonal reappearance at Newton Abbot, and he ran a respectable race that day to finish in 3rd place. He ran well for a long way. It was maybe a little bit, a couple of stages in his race, he was maybe running a bit flat, but I just think he needed that. He looks like the kind of horse to me that will definitely strip fitter for a run. Emma Lavelle, she can sometimes get him fresh, but I think the majority of her horses always come on for a run, and I think he'll be more forward this time, and I think he's still got quite a bit of leniency off his mark. He's rated 107, and I think that's workable. Now, he's going to be going up in trip tomorrow. That race at Newton Abbot was over 2.5, going up to nearly 3 miles tomorrow, so the extra couple of furlongs should suit. And if you look at his pedigree, he's related to he's related to a Welsh national winner, but there's plenty of horses that have got 3 miles in his pedigree now, so I think that's going to help him tomorrow. And I think this isn't a particularly strong race. And Ben Jones, one of the best conditional jockeys in the field, obviously rode Darasha Cancer last year for Emma Lavelle, knows her really well, and I just think this horse has got a really good chance tomorrow. And I'm hoping tomorrow will be the start of a winning sequence for him. I could see him, if he did get one win, going on a row. And also as well, Emma Lavelle had a winner at Huntington today after being in the doldrums. I think her horses have been running okay, but she's just been a bit unlucky, and hopefully it'll be the start of a nice little streak for her. And also as well, hopefully the start of a nice little streak for us. So that's going to be an extra tip to kick things off. We then actually have another extra tip, which is going to run in the 155 at Bangor-On-Dee. Good card there tomorrow with a mare's listed novice chase. We're going to see Stormy Island there. Looking forward to see how she does. But this extra tip is actually going to be coming in kind of the deputy feature race, as it were, in the Duchess of Westminster Class 2 handicap. And I thought the one to be with here was Yaltari for Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams. Now, Venetia's actually got a really good record in this race. She's won it 4 times in the last 10 years, so it's something you've got to sit up and take note of runners in the race. And this Yaltari, I remember actually putting him up when I was doing a bit of work with Racing Tips and GG last year at Ascot when he made his seasonal reappearance, and he ran well for a long way that day. But something in the end, he just didn't see out his race, and in the home straight he got really tired, and he was really well gambled that day. I think he actually went off favourite. Now, he started that campaign off a mark of 145. He's now £4 lower now, off a mark of 141, and I think it looks maybe a little bit more workable for him. Also as well, the only other time we saw him last year, he put an absolute stinker when he was, I think, the only horse that finished, or the last horse that finished in the Grimthorpe behind Captain Chaos. So obviously he has got a bounce back. But if you go for his form 2 seasons ago when he was a novice, he had some really strong form in the book. He put some nice performances together and some testing conditions over long trips at Chepstow, and then he ran a really respectable race behind Mr. Malarkey in the Rennestown chase at Ascot on Betfair Ascot Chase Day. So he's got some fair form in the book, and now down to a mark of 141. I think that's workable. Venetia's horses are coming into a little bit of form now. In the last couple of weeks, they have been running a little bit better. We've actually put a couple of horses up that have done us a couple of favours. You might remember we put up a horse called Cuban Pete a couple of weeks ago, who was a good winner for us from that stable. And she also as well, I remember she had a good winner at Stratford on Sunday, and she had a winner today, even though, yes, it was an odds-on shot at Lingfield. So, yeah, her horses are running better now, and I just think they are coming into a bit of form. And I think this Yaltari, he's got some unfinished business to come this season, and I think he's one to follow and keep on the right side in handicap stand chases. And I think tomorrow he's a massive player in this. You can currently back him at 9-1. And 4 places currently on offer with Betfair and Paddy. He's going to be one of my extra tips of the day, and my only tip actually on the card there at Bangor-On-Dee tomorrow. So that's going to be the selection there. We then go to the Nap, which runs in the 205 at Exeter with a horse called Vango de Vaie for Richard Johnson and Philip Hobbs. Currently 7-2 with bookmakers at the moment. Now, Philip Hobbs, again, like the Tizard stable, have been a little bit, have taken a little while to come to hand, really, and started to hit the winners. But Phil Hobbs, the yard is a little bit more encouraging now. They've had a few winners in the last couple of weeks, and I think they're going to have a good day tomorrow. Actually, they're going to be filled in one of their big guns of the season, hopefully. Sporting John, looking forward to see how he gets on tomorrow. But this Vango de Vaie, I think he's got a good chance in this race tomorrow. Now, he ran a really encouraging race at Chepstow, where he probably needed the run that day. He really did benefit from a run last season. He actually won in the second start of the season after having a run over hurdles at Exeter, and then he went on to win again in the second start at Exeter. So running at Exeter tomorrow is another tick in the box for him, of course, winner. But the way he was ridden, going back to Chepstow on his last run, it probably didn't suit him, because Ben Jones actually got to the front a little bit early with him. He's a bit of a quirky horse, and I think he needs to be played late. And I think with Dickey coming in tomorrow, I think he might just be able to get a slightly better tune out of this horse, Vango de Vaie. He actually won on him when he won at the course last year, so that's going to be a massive positive. And also as well, the form of that race at Chepstow didn't work out too badly, because the winner, who was his stable mate, went on to win at Taunton the other week. So the form doesn't look too bad from that race at Chepstow and he's still quite unexposed over fences. He's only had the 2 starts, and if he replicates that run at Chepstow last time out and takes another step forward, which I think he can, I think he's a dangerous player in this race, and he might have a bit of scope still off his mark of 102. So yeah, I think there's lots to like about his chances tomorrow. You can currently back him at 7-2, and that's why he is going to be my nap of the day. We then don't have to wait too long for the next tip of the day, which is going to be my next best, which runs in the 236. Looks a nice novices handicap chase here, and I think St. Barts could be the real deal here for, again, the same combination, Dickie Johnson and Philip Hobbs. Now this one is going to be my next best, currently back at 11-2, and I'm going to recommend the Dirty Each Way selection here. Now I was really pleased by this horse's progress last season over hurdles. You know, he really did do well, and he won a nice handicap Ascot on his last start and really testing ground. But I think it was one of those racing cliches, whatever he did over hurdles was a bonus, and really his career was always going to be over fences, and he makes his chase debut tomorrow off a mark of 125. And I read a couple of quotes from Phil Hobbs' stable tour, and he said that he was going straight into novice handicap company, not messing around. You know, they really like him. He scored well over fences, and I think he's got a really good chance in this race. And also as well, he's going to be getting plenty of weight from a lot of his rivals, and I just think this horse could be well ahead of his mark, and he could have quite a bit more to come from. And if you look at the rest of the field, I wouldn't like to back the Tizard horse, especially with the way their horses have been running. Not so convinced about even the who had some good bumper form but didn't really do it too often over hurdles. He's got to really bounce back. But for me, I think the St. Barts has got quite a bit of untapped potential, and I think there could be a bit more money for him tomorrow. I think he could go off a shorter price, and 11-2 looks fairly big in my opinion, and I think he's got a good chance of a mark of 125 in this race tomorrow. And I think come post time he could be, like I said, a little bit shorter. So he's going to be my next best tomorrow, and I'm going to recommend the Dirty Each Way. The long shot of the day then runs in the final race at Exeter tomorrow in the 4:11 Mares Novice Hurdle. Obviously, a lot of people probably wouldn't want to have a bet in this race. They probably think it's between Bourne and Boris and the Nichols horse, potentially the Alan King horse. But I think I found one here at a little bit of a price, and that's a horse for Lucy and Susie Gardner, their local track. Mother and daughter teaming up there, and this Emmprressive lady currently at 12-1. I think is quite a big player in this race and is not to be underestimated, and I'm going to recommend an each way selection here. Now this horse previously used to be with Deborah Hamer and actually showed a little bit of ability in bumpers, and then last time out she made her seasonal debut at Plumpton in the novice hurdle, which actually wasn't too bad for the grade. There was a really warm favourite of Anthony Hannibal's that day, who ran below par, but you had Peace Prevails in there for Jim Boyle, and he had some nice form going into that race, which had worked out quite well. And this horse was really eye-catching. I would urge anyone to go back and watch the race replay. Was travelling really well into the home straight, you know, and was staying on and finding a little bit more. And I just think, A, it probably needed the run that day, and then B, it would be sharper for tomorrow. And C, the third thing I like about this horse tomorrow is stepping up in trip to 2 miles and 2 furlongs. And I just think this horse is a massive player in this race tomorrow and isn't to be underestimated. And just because she's from a smaller stable, again, she's not one that I would be put off. Also as well, the Gardeners, they like to have winners at Exeter. Like I said, it's their local track. And just the way the Nichols horse last time travelled like the best horse in the race and found absolutely zilch for pressure would be a major concern for me, even though you do have to respect the current form of the yard. And also as well, the Tizard horse, I think it might have had a little bit of a hard race, even though it did run in the that listed mare's hurdle behind Mrs. Hyde last time at Wetherby, and even though she does have to give the weight away, again, I would be concerned about that. So really, I'm quite keen to take those two on tomorrow, and that's why I've got an angle in here with this horse. I just think at a price it could run really well, and as one not to be underestimated, and I just think it will come a lot more forward for that run at Plumpton last time out. So that's why it's going to be my long shot of the day. So let's quickly recap the 5 tips for tomorrow. In the 12:55 at Exeter, we go with Hawkswell, 9-2 win bet. In the 1:55 at Bangor-On-Dee, we go with Yaltari, 9-1 each way. That's an extra tip of the day. The nap then runs not long afterwards in the 2:05 at Exeter with a horse called Vango de Vaie, 7-2 win only bet. In the 2:36 at Exeter, we go with St. Barts, 11-2 dirty each way next best. And then the 4:11, the last selection and last race of the day at Exeter there, my long shot is Emmprressive Lady, 12-1 each way for Lucy Gardner and Sue Gardner. So they're the 5 tips for tomorrow's race. Racing. If you're liking these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button. Also as well, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos. And also as well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a bit more about myself, my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.